Self-hatred rarely screams at first. It whispers after small mistakes and quiet nights. This video is about where that voice comes from and why it can feel more convincing than love. Once you see the pattern, it stops feeling like fate. Self-hatred usually starts as someone else's voice. Repeated criticism becomes your brain's background noise. You think it is honesty, but it is old pain speaking. Like hearing "you're too much" after one small mistake. Maybe it started at home, in school, or with someone you loved. But here's the truth. Children borrow language to understand themselves. If love felt conditional, worth felt conditional too. Then your mind starts grading every breath. You call it discipline. Your body calls it danger. Pay attention to this. The harsher the voice, the younger the wound. That is why tiny errors can feel huge. A late reply, a typo, a bad photo. Suddenly, you feel embarrassed for existing. This is where it gets interesting. If the voice was learned, it can be unlearned. Not fast, not in one quote. But every time you notice it, you weaken it. Awareness is the first crack in that wall. Shame makes pain turn inward. Anger that cannot go outward often attacks the self. It feels safer to blame you than risk losing connection. Like saying, "I ruin everything," after someone hurts you. Shame loves secrecy and silence. But here's the truth. What stays hidden starts to feel permanent. You stop saying, "that hurt me." You start saying, "something is wrong with me." That shift changes your whole identity. Pay attention to this. Shame does not just describe pain. It names you. Once pain becomes identity, escape feels impossible. Maybe you apologize before anyone gets upset. Maybe you shrink before entering a room. Maybe you laugh while your chest feels heavy. This is where it gets interesting. The goal of shame is survival, not truth. It tries to keep you attached and acceptable, but it does that by making you disappear. Perfectionism is often self-hatred dressed as ambition. It promises safety if you never slip. Deep down, you are chasing permission to exist. Like rewriting one message 10 times before hitting send. Perfectionism looks impressive from the outside, but here's the truth. Inside, it feels like living under a microscope. Rest feels guilty. Mistakes feel fatal. Even success brings relief, not peace, because the standard always moves. Pay attention to this. You do not feel proud for long. You only feel less threatened for a minute. Then the next flaw lights up. Then the next goal feels urgent. Then the next version of you feels required. This is where it gets interesting. Perfectionism is not high self-esteem. It is fear wearing expensive clothes. And fear can never say, "enough." Comparison pours gasoline on self-hatred. Your brain edits their highlight reel against your worst day. Then your real life starts feeling broken. Like scrolling happy couples while crying in your kitchen. Comparison looks modern, but the wound is ancient. But here's the truth. Your mind is hunting for proof of your worst belief. If you fear being unlovable, it finds evidence everywhere. Every body, wedding, and promotion becomes a verdict. Social media just speeds up the trial. Pay attention to this. You're not seeing their fear, debt, or doubt. You're seeing polished fragments without context. But your brain treats them like full reality. Then it sentences you with half the story. No wonder you feel exhausted. This is where it gets interesting. Comparison is not curiosity. It is self-surveillance. And self-surveillance kills joy very quietly. It keeps you close to shame all day. Self-hatred can feel strangely useful. If you attack yourself first, nobody can surprise you. It creates the illusion of control, like rejecting yourself before a date can reject you. That is why people cling to it for years. But here's the truth. The mind often prefers familiar pain over uncertain healing. Self-cruelty feels predictable, even when it hurts. Kindness can feel fake, weak, or dangerous, because softness was not always safe for you. Pay attention to this. Some people fear self-compassion more than self-criticism. Compassion lowers the armor, and armor once helped you survive. So when you try gentleness, your body resists, not because you are broken, because you were trained for threat. This is where it gets interesting. Healing often feels wrong before it feels right. That discomfort is not failure, it is change. Self-hatred is not just thoughts, it becomes a body state. Your nervous system starts expecting rejection before it arrives. Then your chest tightens in ordinary moments, like hearing your name and expecting bad news. The body remembers what the mind forgets. But here's the truth. A shame spiral is physical, not just mental. Your jaw locks, your stomach drops, your breath shortens. Then you shame yourself for reacting. That doubles the wound. Pay attention to this. When the body feels unsafe, the mind becomes crueler. It searches for reasons to explain the alarm, and the quickest answer is often, "It's me." So you blame your face, voice, needs, or past. But symptoms are not character flaws. They are signals asking for care. This is where it gets interesting. Regulation is not luxury. It is part of self-respect. A calmer body makes a kinder mind possible. Healing starts when you stop calling abuse honesty. The voice in your head does not become wise by sounding harsh. Real honesty tells the truth without tearing you apart. Like saying, "I messed up," instead of, "I am a mess." This shift sounds small, but it changes everything. But here's the truth. You cannot hate yourself into a peaceful life. You may force results, but you will not feel safe. Safety grows through repetition, not one big breakthrough. One boundary, one kind sentence, one pause. Pay attention to this. Healing is often boring before it feels beautiful. It is water, sleep, and leaving bad rooms. It is not always dramatic music and deep insight. Sometimes it is simply not joining the attack. Sometimes it is letting the mirror be neutral. This is where it gets interesting. The opposite of self-hatred is not ego. It is self-allowance. It is letting yourself be human without punishment. Self-hatred grows in silence, shame, and old fear. But it weakens when you name it clearly. You are not the voice that wounds you. If this hit home, stay with this channel. We put hidden patterns into words so you can heal.